Actually, it's your appendix. Yes, you should. I don't know how to stand it.
How's it going? Excellent. Yeah, I see you. Yes. A big long.
It's also my anniversary.
Big short night. Oh, is it?
Happy anniversary.
Wow.
The live stream of the San Francisco Opera starts at my house.
Well, you guys are in control of the timeline.
I'm gonna get you home by 7:30. I want to be done by 5.
Really? You think we can? Okay.
I mean, let's get a lot of the things we're talking about.
That's true.
I was gonna pull one of those.
I was expecting there might be a lot of,
Thank you.
but
I think people said they can't make it.
that's right, it's just fair.
There might be a couple of those.
It is, oh,
Water,
Oh.
water.
Switch? No, no. Haley, did you show your water bottles over here? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Expected water. That was for my presentation this morning. Good, how are you doing?
Good.
I would recognize it anywhere.
Managing stress with everything. I met on the final memo almost done.
Okay.
Friday.
Was it too brilliant?
It's done. When it's like already pretty much done, I'm just doing the final analysis. Yes.
We decided upon whether we need to read people's public comment.
I don't think we should read it out.
We don't do it.
Okay, okay.
That is not in the council rules.
Okay,
It used to be, and then
I know.
you get a situation where somebody says something not very nice or even obscene, and then you have to decide whether you want to read it or not, and who's gonna read it, then they're gonna be on video saying it.
Bleed and stuff.
And then you can clip a video of somebody and then it's out. How does everybody know who's, if it was the council
I'm
saying
fine.
it?
I'm not
Yeah.
No,
That
it's
was very nice.
endorsing either way, I just wondered.
In front of everyone.
You can clip the tape, you know.
I almost had one for request.
Pick your place. It just works.
We should open that door out there. Come in. Could you open that door? Thank you. It's a full house, so if the public comes in, we have to find, there's chairs over there.
We have plenty of holdings.
Is someone leaving chair? No.
Well, yeah, you could open this. Just or close them, whatever you call it. But then Kathy's gonna.
Are those new? Yeah.
Oh, fancy. Very secure.
I mean, no one's getting through that. No one.
Hanging bells on it so that people in here can tell it more.
That run out. That wouldn't be. So I have that last whole of these strings. I made the mistake. I put them on a-
Oh, okay.
Ever since then, I finally jumped up. Okay. I had a lot of spare time. I'm like, oh, you got my- I'm like, Danny down in the because I'm like, yes, I'm like, it's probably gonna hurt himself. So I'm like, oh, sure, we should stop. And so I just right like that's not like
Haley, you are a Debbie Downer.
I know, mom. It's not perfect. Oh my God. I was the winner of Yeah, that's a good point. I might do that again, just.
We have a fair amount to cover.
I
know we were waiting for Council Groner.
We're
May have missed the 5:30.
Maybe. Let's dive in.
There was a secret. No, it was on the printed agenda the whole time.
And that's what I did. I looked at the agenda and said, oh, just get there at 5:30.
Yeah.
And then
we
Kathy sends the, and then we also.
I'll get your taken, yep. So I think we should get going.
Uh,
If we can.
Can you hear us, Kathy?
We can. You ready?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Start the recording.
Thank you.
And I will call to order the pre-meeting of the Westland City Council, otherwise known as the meeting about the meeting. And we will begin. We have mayor and council reports, which has 2 items on it. City manager goals and merit increase decision, and city attorney goals and merit increase decision. We're wrapping up the 2 evaluations of the city council's direct reports. Looking forward to that. Any questions or comments on that at this time? Okay, then we've got the consent agenda. It has the audit services contract on it and the council rules changes, which, as you remember, were minor changes to the tort claim notice procedure and changing the meeting days to Tuesdays. Nothing crazy going on there.
No.
Any questions on the audit services contract, which went through a procurement process, and Councilor Bragg and any other city councilors serve on that committee?
Counselor Groner is on the audit committee, so he wasn't
Yeah.
on the selection committee, but he did recommend
Thank you.
based off of the selection committee's recommendation.
Well, thank you for doing that. So that one process is here for recommended approval, but it's on the consent agenda, so it will just be approved in both those 2 matters, and then the meeting notes. Any questions on audit services? I see no questions. Okay. And now we can go into the business meeting. Got through all this. That's City Manager
Maybe
Blaine.
we didn't need as much time as I thought. That was very fast. So on the business meeting, it's a big meeting tonight. Lots of important decisions or considerations. So starting off, we have a resolution adopting the. So if you have any process or informational questions, and again, for all of us here at the table, the purpose of the meeting about the meeting is not to discuss the content, but to discuss, do you have all the information you need? Are there any last questions? To bring information, or do you want to talk about any process elements of this?
I'll just share with the council. So I had conversations with Darren earlier, but we've all been receiving these public comments on the issue of the wetland. And I started to think about what are some ways we can kind of compromise a little bit and without being prejudicial to the property rights, but at the same time showing that on that particular page 36, there is a community preference, or we've heard public comment about natural resource preservation. So after talking to Darren, he drafted up a couple of language additions that we could put on the map. If you recall, there used to be language that said potential development, or it said medium density of housing in planning state. We took that out as a text box. So I thought maybe we could add in another text box that points to the wetland area in general without pointing to the particular property, that says something along the lines of environmental preservation birds. So Darren drafted up a language that said natural resource preservation and rehabilitation, and we have some lines pointing to the waterfront wetland area. So I was going to propose that at the beginning, so trying to help see what the council thought, but just a heads up. Then it would be adopted as amended if the city council agrees with that.
Okay, so this one is a public hearing for the script. Yes, that's, I think, hopefully that. Okay, great.
Oh, yeah,
Kathy sent it to us.
Okay, script motions.
that was the only procedural point I had to state.
Sounds good.
I don't think there've been too many requests to speak yet that I've understood. A couple, but yeah, written comments, I think. But we'll see. To be a larger crowd.
You never know. That's the thing about city. You never know.
Better, you can see that.
So that will be a big milestone accomplishment to get that adopted. Thank you very much, everybody. We work on that 10 years. 10 years off and on. The whole time Darren's been a city employee, we've been working on that. Okay, would you like to transition? Any other comments on waterfront, or transition to CCP OA
Yes.
bargaining contracts?
So three resolutions actually related to this topic regarding the Peace Officers Association. We've previously heard reports on this, here information staff report. Super excited to have this in front of you tonight. We've invited police officers to attend. Not exactly sure how many we'll get, but we'll see. If you have any questions about it, yeah, if you have any questions about the process or the time.
Are we expecting people to show up at 6, or what time are you?
Did we say what time? think
I
we said
said
it started.
Yeah, I gave them the start time of the meeting and then just said, when it would, that we were anticipating kind of towards the latter half, so.
Okay.
I know we have at least one that's
At
on
least one.
duty, so.
I always try to be respectful of on duty and
Yeah,
move
100%.
them up with me. So would you like us to do the contract at the beginning of the meeting?
She's keeping us down.
I think it's soon.
The rest of the room would like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have made that decision based on how many folks are in. There was 50 members of the public waiting to speak on but
And I also saw another request from, I think, on the issue of, for scheduling on the operations center.
It's okay.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, okay. But I think it'll be an efficient meeting. It shouldn't be too long. But I appreciate that. Council President, please.
Well, I know that sometimes in the past, could have maybe better anticipated of a certain topic and the police were after that. So if we think the waterfront will take quite a bit longer than the CCPOA agenda item, does anybody have?
Does it have to if you need us to be?
so Darren's staff report will be about 20-ish minutes. Okay, and then depending on how much public comment we have and whatever deliberation, so easy to imagine that being a half hour. Your Kelsey, I understand is doing all the
5
talking.
minutes, yeah, 5 minutes.
We have one agenda bill, 2 resolutions, and then we want to make sure that we're matching with our command staff, so there's a separate one, but it's the same.
Okay. Well, I guess if there's a lot of officers up there, when we get there, we can look at the room and
Yeah.
see what makes sense.
Any questions on the contracts themselves?
No, good job, everyone.
Very happy about that.
So all 3 pieces. Okay, and then the last item is the office complex design budget. You talked about that in several recent meetings, and then we talked some about the financing on Monday. Unfortunately, Council President. No, not that at all. But it's a big decision. It's a big project. It's had a long, slow burn here. And so the one thing, just clarifying the action tonight.
The actions tonight would hopefully to get consent on the design option that we'll be pursuing and the related budget to that. And at the future meeting, we'd be bringing a resolution with Warren assistance to actually approve the authorization of the obligation.
I just have a quick question. Has there been significant changes since we last talked? Have you come to present?
No, so we're
Okay.
just responding to some more of the details, the pros and cons that were asked. And then also there were some questions about if there was a fee for the ops building, what kind of revenue would that generate? And a little bit more deeper dive into the finances surrounding the original design, which was more expensive. Staff is still recommending the 45 million option 2. But we just were presenting the more rounded picture that was requested at the last meeting.
And I think when we talked last week, none of us really liked the option 3.
That is correct. We are not presenting that.
Oh,
Like, we kind of took that off the table. Yes.
Okay.
And just for my clarity, Lauren, I saw the resolution of the council, so that's not happening tonight. That's on the other one.
No, that will be, so after the council decides tonight, if they're gonna move forward with it, then we will.
December.
In December.
We also have to talk about the financing of it in a little more detail, but then make some decisions on that, correct? It was, as stemming from the conversation yesterday, we were talking about how to alleviate the general fund component of the project. And so that's not tonight, though. We're going to talk about that in the coming meetings. And it's pretty soon, I imagine.
It would want to be pretty soon. I was looking at that first work session in December. If that works for you. If you would like to dive into those pieces tonight, we can ask Lauren to stay. It's part of the reason she's here right now, is to see if you want to head there this evening. Or shall we, a little more time, prepare it,
do it in December, which works time-wise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
As long as
right.
we're moving towards that.
Yeah.
CO.
Yeah, tonight is really, yes, we can be flexible about when the financing discussion happens. It's more about the design option, so we can make sure we are staying a certain course, staying on track for construction documentation and those kinds of next steps related to the design process.
So to clarify, then we could talk about the financing options that we might do to alleviate the general fund as part of the December 2nd work session. And then we would be asked to authorize the full payment credit obligation at the December 9th meeting. Does that sound right?
That's a path that can work. Yes. Okay, that's fantastic. That would be great. Clarity of purpose each time, I think, is really good. The decision on the design and the cost choice will help us set up. That is the end of the business meeting.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Probably won't be, this meeting won't be as fast as it one, but we'll get there. Maybe we'll try to get there by 8 o'clock. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned until 6 o'clock.
Marguerite, right? We're going up.
Oh, we're gonna go right now.
Well, I thought that was the plan.
Whatever. Whatever. Ready for whatever.
That's what counts. But if-
Happy holidays from the Westland City Council.
Your
Thank you.
I don't know what's up.
Oh, I was thinking you were listening.
You know, we can't actually, I just realized, well, we could. We do the holiday reading. Here, and I, there was an answer.
That's the part of the public hearing for our colleagues. No, but
Upstairs.
December, I don't know.
Or-
Because I forgot about the rate. Kathy said the thing saying, hey, hopefully we'll have time to do that.
I get lots.
And because I was just, I have a black shirt on under this, I was just wearing a black.
Why?
I got a person that fancy coat.
Yeah.
Were you
I'll get there.
intending to talk about this? You want to talk about your goals? About the-
Oh.
Hey, John.
don't you usually adopt?
Um,
Kevin, I was trying to test this. Darn it, darn it. Hello, hello? Oh, okay. What? No. If the microphone doesn't work, you guys you want to wear a lapel?
Are you ready to go? Thank you. Good evening. Well, I will wait for the signal from staff that we're ready, and Kevin's streaming live to the community. Thank you very much. Well, with that, we can begin the meeting. I will call to order this city council meeting. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance as it's on the agenda. So if everyone will please rise and face the flag. To the flag of the United
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. We've got a nice, full, and productive agenda tonight. And as always, we will begin with a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the agenda for the November 18th, 2025 Westland City Council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for the November 18th, 2025 Westland City Council meeting. Any discussion from the City Council?
No, other than just to say happy anniversary to my husband.
No better way to spend it than at the City Council. He better be watching at home, by the way. So that's great. Happy anniversary, Mike and Mary. Thank you for that. And thanks for spending your anniversary with us. And make sure that's captured in the minutes, okay? With that, go ahead and call the roll. Thank you.
Counselor Bonington,
Yes.
Counselor Bright,
Yes.
Council President Baumgartner,
Yes.
Counselor Groner,
Yes.
Mayor Wielerowski.
Yes, thank you. So the motion passes and the agenda is approved. And that takes us to public comments for items not on the agenda. We have a few.
Greg Morse. He gave a sheet with it.
Oh, thank you. Welcome. Hi there. Just make sure the green light's on and state your name and city residence, and you have up to 3 minutes.
So my name is Greg Morse. I have lived in Westland for 40 years, on Nixon Avenue for 25 years. And I'm here to bring to the council's attention an issue which has affected us very personally. 1 week ago today, my wife woke up to the sound of chainsaws behind our house on a hillside. We had had no notice of anything happening there. She went outside. There were a few contractors there, and she asked one of the contractors, "What's going on?" He said to her, "The owner is wanting to remove the trees to improve the view for the swimming pool they're going to put in." Now, I don't believe at all that's going to be on a tree permit request. Frankly, I mean, why would a contractor tell us that? I think that he kind of let the cat out of the bag. So we're not happy. We are checking on things, and I'm asking myself, why were we not notified? And I look in my records, and 20 years ago, there is a notice from the city of Westland for this same lot saying, because you are within 500 feet of the property submitting this request, you are being notified. I guess that no longer is the policy. And we found that out the hard way. And I have no idea why you would reduce notice to neighbors. The only way we would have found out is if we had happened to be driving around up on Caledoga, seen the small notice, or seen it on the city website. So I think that is a policy issue the city needs to look at. Secondly, you can see that that hillside above us on the Oregon maps is designated as highly susceptible to landslides. That's the red zone. In fact, there have been 2 landslides. I have not yet heard the city staff whether these maps are considered, even though you get a link to them from the website. I haven't heard. Now, I have to say, the city staff were responsive. You could look at the correspondence, but this is after the fact. I am looking at a hillside behind our house where trees have been taken off. I've looked at the permit, they've sent it over, and the rainy seasons are starting. And I have to say, if that hillside moves down the hill into my and hurts, God forbid, a person, I'm gonna be back at City Hall asking about liability questions. So I think those two things, why is notice reduced? And are state maps consulted or not when permits to remove trees on a slope are asked for? That's my question to you guys. And feel free to look at the correspondence. We've had a lot of correspondence. And it has been helpful, but it doesn't change the facts on the ground for our house. All right.
Thank you for your comments, and we'll take a look at the correspondence and get in touch with you.
Ray Inabnet.
Hi, Ray, welcome. Just state your name and city residence, and you have up to 3 minutes.
I'm Ray Inabnet, in West Land for almost 30 years. I'm here to address about three issues. First of all is most people who work during the day take off at lunch to come and take care of business in City Hall. When you got a whole department downstairs shut at 11:30 and there's nobody there to answer questions, there's nobody there to take notes to get back with them. Nobody. Secondly, I come back in there the next day early and one guy tells me, you gotta file this paperwork to get somebody to put up speed limit signs on Upper Mid Hill. They've redone that daggone road with all the water main. Now it's a nice, pretty flat racetrack. So people coming off of 43 is running 30, 40, 50 mile an hour down through there. There's no speed limit signs on this street. It's unimproved street because it's not wide enough for 2 lanes of traffic. Should be 15 miles an hour on that street. As an unimproved residential street, 15 miles an hour. That's by ODOT's daggone guidance. I've got to fill out a piece of paper. Guy tells me that there's a citizen review panel. Another guy jumps up and says, no, that's not a citizen review panel. So where's the onboarding for these people that supposedly know what the policy and procedures are? Rules and regulations, policy and procedures should be right there at that counter. But half the day, they close the window and they're out. When I show up, the guy's got the wrong information. This guy comes back and says, no, here's real information. Third guy shows up and tells me, basically, he thinks I'm standing there telling a bare-faced lie that people are running 45, 55 mile an hour down through Upper Mid Hill. Those people are supposed to be taking care of business and overseeing and overwatching stuff. That road has been repaved almost a month. There's street signs that says no parking still laying on the ground. Nobody's coming over and supervising them. When they first did it, they didn't tell us when they were going to do it. I take off on my motorcycle and go visit some old retired Army folks and my daughter all the way in Washington, D.C. I come back at 11:30 at night, there's a pothole this big at Arbor and Upper Mid Hill. Then there's a trench about yay deep and about yay wide, and it's not backfilled. It's unsafe and it's not marked. It's not lit up. Nobody's checking whether these guys are doing anything to maintain a safe environment on the roads. So I come down here and I talk to them the next day, and within an hour or two, there's 2 guys on the road every day checking them. You know how many times they had to dig that trench back up? 3 or 4 times they were forced to dig it back up because they didn't meet the requirements. So there's project and program management and supervision is not happening. There's half a day, if not more, that people can't get an answer out of anything. Then I got to fill a piece of paperwork out to get a street sign, speed limit sign put up there. You spend the money to put up a nice pretty sign on one end, Upper Mid Hill, and the other end it says, this is your water money at use. It's a waste of daggone taxpayers' money if you have people painting out the daggone location for all your utilities, but 3, 4, 5 years later, every year it got painted, but it wasn't done until this year. Somebody's not overwatching the money, somebody's not overwatching the programs, and nobody's doing the daggone supervision.
Thank you for your comment. So just to follow up, so you're requesting a speed limit sign on Upper Mid Hill is one of the main issues you're bringing up today.
Put in the paperwork, because it shouldn't take a daggone survey and nothing to put up a sign that says it's 15 miles an hour. If Chief, or Sergeant Garland, or the captain back yonder stops somebody, writes a ticket on Upper Mid Hill, and it goes in court, all you gotta do is tell the judge, Your Honor, there is no speed limit mark.
Thank you.
Dismissed.
That is all.
Okay. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is mayor and council reports. And so we have, first of all, reports from community advisory groups. Anybody like to make a report? Oh, we've got Councilor Groner, who had just jetted up here from the, I think, the library board meeting just today.
In reverse chronological order, yes. The library board met at 5 o'clock this evening. Basically, they got the survey results. The general notion is that people are generally pleased with the library and the services that they're getting. They got very good participation in the survey. If there are complaints, it's related to parking at the library, which is frequently unavailable. In addition, earlier in the week, on the 12th, the Willamette Neighborhood Association basically talked about a development, 320 multifamily units off Blankenship. And there was quite a bit of discussion about that. I went to the Metro Mixer on November 13th, learned some things about potential grants, basically for transportation, and especially what I hadn't realized is something like a pedestrian bicycle bridge across the Willamette could come under a transportation grant. And basically that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that robust report tonight. Any other reports? Looking down on Councilor Bonington, anything to report?
Yeah, back on the 6th was the Economic Development Committee, and we started the process of the SWOT analysis that was added to the work plan a few months ago. And then I dropped into the Parks Board meeting real fast because of a scheduling conflict, but they were working on heritage tree nominations, so I assume we'll be seeing those soon. Those should be fun.
Thank you for that. Glad to hear the addition to the work plan is being put into action. Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Bright.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 13th, I attended the Water Environment Services Advisory Committee meeting. We had the final review of their 5-year capital planning that will be going to the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners in either December or January for approval.
Thank you. Council President Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I am happy to announce that the 4 partners at the Willamette Falls are now all moved into Historic City Hall. That would be the Willamette Falls Heritage Advocates, the Willamette Falls and Landings Heritage Area Coalition, the Willamette Falls Locks Authority, and the Willamette Falls Trust. And so they're all working together in tandem for the wonderful project that we're going to discuss in part later with the waterfront plan. And so I regularly attend those meetings and went to the meeting for the coalition, the Heritage Area Coalition last week. I did miss the trust meeting yesterday because I was attending to a family emergency, but that is very exciting because we've been waiting a long time. There's some people in the audience who have been waiting a long time for that. So congratulations and thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you, Council President. I attended last week a meeting of the Metropolitan Mayors Consortium, which consists of all the mayors of the cities of the Portland area. Had a great, robust discussion with TriMet about their upcoming budgetary issues and potential service cuts. That was the main item on the agenda. Lots of concern amongst the mayors around about that, its impact and on the cities. And then, of course, nobody reported on this, but yesterday we had our 3.5-hour follow-up budget discussion talking about the city's budget needs and opportunities. So that was great. And that was yesterday. And here we are tonight, meeting again. So busy week for the city council. With Councilor Bonington has one more thing to add to the report.
Since we don't technically have an agenda item on tonight's agenda, I just wanted to make sure we took a moment to recognize Chief Mahuna for his last day and his years of service to the city. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you bringing that up, Councilor Bonington, and I'm sure council will have a chance to say a few words at the end of the meeting after we approve the police contract. We're planning to say a few words for you, Chief. Appreciate you being here. And we will revisit that in just a few minutes. Any other reports from council? Well, with that, we can move then into the next couple of mayor and council report items. As folks out there know or may not know, the city council hires 2 employees, the city manager and the city attorney, and both have annual performance evaluations. And as the final part of those 2 evaluations, we have a discussion of goals and then a vote on the merit increase, which is provided for in the contract at the council's discretion. So on the agenda, we've got city manager goals and merit increase and city attorney goals and merit increase decision. So to start, I just wanted to check in with city council on the city manager's goals, because the motion tonight approves the city manager's goals. And we've circulated that after the executive session that city council had. And I didn't hear from anybody with any changes, and the goals are still, I think, very applicable to the upcoming year. So anybody like to propose any changes to the goals or can readopt them? Okay, well, with that, I'd entertain a motion on the first item.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the city manager goals and merit increase of 3%, which is $236,306.72 retroactive to September 16th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the city manager goals and merit increase of 3% retroactive to September 16, 2025. And of course, at this time, I'm happy to open the floor up to city council for any comments. I'll just start by saying, John, we're very lucky to have you here at the city. You're a Westland resident. You're a wonderful city manager. I appreciate all that you do to help keep our city run, accomplish all the city council's goals, and was very pleased also this year with some of the public comments we received, positive, and the staff comments. In particular, we have a 360 evaluation where the city staff get to weigh in on the city manager's performance, either by name or anonymously, and all the comments this year were very, very positive towards the culture you developed here at the city. And I feel as mayor and as city council, we are well positioned to move forward and really accomplish these big goals that we've got planned. There's a lot going on here at the city, and we're lucky to have you on board with all your experience and really your, I think, passion for the city of West Linn. So
Here.
Any other comments as we?
I'll make it brief. I just wanted to thank John and to note that as one example of a welcome change and as indicates the morale of, I think, city staff, the annual picnic has become really well attended and very much enjoyed by all staff. And you can just tell when you're there watching and walking around and participating in the activities that everyone is genuinely happy and working well and enjoying themselves. So I've been to a lot of company picnics and they're not always that way. So it's very positive. Thank you, John.
Anything else from the city council? Councilor Bonnie, do you have go ahead.
I guess I would just like to bring this up one more time and draw attention to it, that there was a post on the West Linn community page, which had 46 very positive, very very nice comments about you. And I think they were very well deserved. And I wish they had been able to be included in the official evaluation, but I think they stand pretty well on their own because they weren't even solicited. They just came up organically like that. So I think that says a lot about the community actually appreciating you too.
Agreed. Here, here, as Councilor Groder said. So with that, we can call the roll on the motion to approve and award the merit increase.
Counselor Reich,
Yes.
Council President Baumgartner,
Yes.
Counselor Groner,
Yes.
Counselor Bonington,
Yes.
Mayor Beanestowski.
Yes, thank you. So the motion is approved unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll move to the city attorney goals and merit increase. So Kaylee sent over her goals to the city council after the executive session. I've had a chance to review those and happy to, if anybody has any changes, they can make them, or they're good. I thought they were great goals, so we appreciate you putting those together and glad to work with you. Any with no changes, so we can entertain a motion on that item.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the city attorney goals and merit increase of 3%, which is $236,199.60 retroactive to September 9th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the city attorney goals and merit increase of 3%, retroactive September 9th, 2025. Any discussion? I'll let you kick it off this time, Council President Baumgartner.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that I am so excited to have not only a city attorney, but this city attorney who has brought so much value to our city and is such a confidence builder so that we can do our work and know that we are supported by excellent legal advice. And so we're very excited. And also welcome to Kristen on staff as well in the attorney role. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Council President. Absolutely. I mean, Kaylee, you came to the city just, if you can believe it, about just over a year ago, and you came in and you set up your own legal department. For a while, it was a department of one, and you've done a tremendous job just kind of drinking from a fire hose and learning all there is to be, all it is to be a city attorney. You didn't come from a municipal government background, but you came from government background, obviously very well qualified, and we are just, I couldn't have said it better than Council President, but very lucky to have you. And it's so nice, honestly, for I think our city staff, advisory group members, and city council to just be able to open the door back here in City Hall and talk to two attorneys. In the past, it was you got to call and wait potentially several days for a response. I think even city staff at times may not have even reached out because of kind of the delays with getting responses and just the cost associated with that. So we're just very, I think the Office of City Attorney could not be going any better from the standpoint of city services and just your service to the community. So we're very glad to have you on board.
Thank you
And
very much.
super excited for the year ahead with just like with city manager, everything going on. There's a lot, but a lot of it's really fun. Councilor Groner, you had a comment.
Yes, before your arrival, I think our legal matters were much more opaque and really didn't understand things until after they'd happened irrevocably. I think under your tutelage, if you like, things are much more open. We're understanding more and trying to anticipate what we can do. So thank you very much.
Anything else from the council? All right, well, with that, we can call the roll. And
Council President Baumgartner,
Yes.
Counselor Groner,
Yes.
Counselor Bonington,
Yes.
Counselor Bright,
Yes.
Mayor Beanestowski.
yes, thank you. So the motion passes unanimously. And so that thus concludes the 2025 City Council evaluation season. Congratulations to you both. We're very grateful to have you here. So with that, we can then move on to the consent agenda, which has a few things on it, the meeting minutes and an audit contract and council rule changes. So any objection to an item on the consent agenda? Anybody Anybody want to pull anything off of there to talk about it? Council President?
No, not to pull anything off, but I just wanted to make sure that the officers present have time to wait for the order that we are going to be having
Oh,
each
yes.
item in. So if we need to maybe move the order, but it's totally up to if everybody's okay. The waterfront vision plan section should take about a half an hour-ish. So we could switch the two.
We just don't want you to have to run out of here if you're on duty tonight. We always check in. Okay. Okay, well, okay. All right, well, should we just continue or?
Yep.
Okay.
I move-
Hearing no push,
Okay.
we'll continue on and let democracy play out here tonight and get to the contract in just a little bit.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda for the November 18th, 2025 Weston City Council meeting, which includes the October 14th, 2025 meeting minutes, the audit services contract, and council rules changes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, including meeting minutes of October 14, 2025, the audit services contract, and council rule changes. Please call the roll. No discussion.
Counselor Groner,
Yes.
Counselor Bonington,
Yes.
Counselor Bright,
Yes.
Council President Baumgartner,
Yes.
Mayor Listowski.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Consent agenda is approved. And with that, we will move right into the business meeting, which the first item is the waterfront vision plan adoption tonight. If you can believe that, we're here. We're going to adopt our vision plan. So with that, I'll turn it over. I'll actually, wait, I have a script. What did I say? We have a whole procedure here for a legislative hearing. So a public hearing on PLN 2502, a proposal to adopt the Westland Waterfront Vision Plan is called to order. And the vision plan outlines the community vision for the waterfront planning area, and the plan will be used to inform the implementation phases of zoning and code amendments and infrastructure investments. The working group made its recommendation July 2025. Planning Commission made its recommendation in September 2025. And the City Council considered recommendations in 2 work sessions in October 2025. And so tonight's hearing will proceed as follows. Staff make presentation, council will have an opportunity to ask questions, and then council will hear testimony. And then after the council asks any final questions, staff, the hearing will be closed and council will decide the matter. So we'll begin with the staff presentation, and I'll turn it over to City Manager if you have any opening comments. I know that's been maybe one of the reasons you wanted to be City Manager here was to work on the waterfront. So glad
Mayor
to be
and
here.
Council, this project was one of the reasons that I first came to Westland 9 years ago, and have been working on and off with Darren on this project ever since. Obviously, there's many people who've been much more involved in recent years than I have. But this is a fantastic opportunity for the city and for the community of Westland. I just want to credit the folks who have put in the time here in the building. And also, we have had many, many community members very active, engaged, involved in this, contributing thoughts, making the plan better, making our work better. And we appreciate that. Darren will be summarizing some of that effort here tonight. And there's an opportunity, obviously, for the public to comment at this stage. So I really appreciate it. I'm just going to turn it over to our honored principal planner, Darren Weiss, and the team.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us here tonight. Very happy to be here on the precipice of potentially getting the vision plan adopted. Again, we've got Adrian Whitty with me from Tool Design and Jennifer Shook from Leland Consulting. Adrian's got a somewhat brief presentation to walk through the process that got us here tonight. And then again, Jennifer and Adrian are available for any technical questions about the plan itself. So I will turn it over to Adrian and get the show started.
Thank you. Welcome.
Very good to be here again. Yeah, excited to be presenting the final version of the Westland Waterfront Vision Plan. I know we've, as you mentioned, been to a couple of council work sessions, so you're very familiar with the project. I guess for the purpose of tonight's meeting, I'm just wanting to run through some of the highlights of the plan and the process that we've been through to get it to this point. and then outline the final changes that we've made as part of the moving from the work sessions to the meeting tonight. So I guess the goal of the vision plan is really to present an inspired and achievable framework for the transformation of the waterfront. And we've really focused this into 3 different districts along the waterfront: the Historic City Hall District, the Cultural Heritage District, and the Pond District that you'll see referred to tonight.
She's going to try to get rid of the closed captioning here so that we can better see the. There we go. Thank you. Oh, it's back. It went away. Oh, man, it's just the silence costs.
I guess we've just got to stop talking.
Okay. Usually there's an X you can click over that. I don't know if it's. There, now you can, there's an X. Just go back over the cat. There you go. Now we got it. You just had to stop scaring. You got it. Thank you.
Great, no,
Okay,
thank you.
now you may continue.
Excellent, no problem. So yeah, I do want to outline like what's in the vision plan. So yeah, really this is a plan that outlines new opportunities for both residents and visitors to the area. Parts of the plan outline are sort of really geared towards economic development opportunities and the potential for revitalized areas with new land uses. But then other parts of the plan also look at opportunities for increased access to the river, recreational opportunities, and natural resource protection restoration. And of course, there's also the site is a significant Indigenous heritage site and also an industrial heritage site, and there are great opportunities that come with both of those pieces. The goals of the plan were really to be very community driven in this effort, but also steep that in the realities of the site, both its physical geography and context, and the fact that the majority of the site is owned by private property interests. Importantly, what the plan doesn't do is it doesn't change the comp plan or the zoning or the development code. And it doesn't change the transportation system plan. It also doesn't lock in any specific investments or resource protections or historic preservation efforts. And those would be essentially next steps coming out of this plan. Using the vision plan more as a guiding document to, in the immediate term, look at comp plan or zoning code amendments that might be needed to enact this plan, along with obviously additional community engagement as all these things happen. So as John had mentioned, this project has been going on near 10 years. The early outreach pieces began in 2016 and were obviously interrupted by the COVID pandemic. And then we've picked up since then in 2023, and these last 2 years really focused in on the vision plan. And in particular, the outreach component of this slide up here shows the sort of timeline and just a snapshot of some of the different engagement efforts that have happened across that 9-year period that include public open houses, civic group presentations, tabling events, working with private property owners as well as tribal interest groups and others, and decision-making briefings along the way. Early on, you can see on the slide here just the sort of mix of different engagement events that happened in that earlier period, the number of events and how many people interacted with the plan, as John had mentioned. And what really came out of that early engagement effort were those 3 planning districts that we talked about before, as well as these guiding principles that have sort of oriented the plan throughout the process that you see on the screen here. As part of that process, there was also a concept for Willamette Falls Drive that was adopted into the transportation system plan, and some preferred land uses emerged out of that planning processes, engagement process as well. In this later stage, these last 2 years of the plan development, we've been to open houses, tabling events, civic group presentations, online surveys, and a lot of interaction with the project website as well. What we've really used, and beyond that, we've also had extensive outreach with property owners and tribal groups. And we've also had a project working group that's been along helping with the development of the plan, as well as a technical advisory group, and then decision maker briefings that have helped to orient the plan to where it is today. So with that, we've been through several versions of this plan. The draft vision plan that was put together in early 2024 went out for public engagement. And from those comments, we updated that draft around September 2024, worked that through our technical advisory group and the project working group to come up with a final draft that was put out to the public December 2024 and January this year. From that, we've also taken that through our various committees, through Planning Commission and through the work sessions with yourselves last month to come up with the final vision plan that we're presenting tonight. Just some highlights of what the plan is built around. It's built around these district planning frameworks. So for each district, there is a specific sort of vision outlined for those districts. Starting in historic City Hall, what we've really heard in this district is that this is probably the most logical place for higher density with a mixture of land uses that could include restaurants, shops, residential, local businesses, and would really be an opportunity to create an iconic destination that really creates an identity for West Lynn that can really link the neighborhoods. So linking between Willamette and Bolton, and then across the river to Oregon City. So in this district, the framework is really oriented around this Main Street concept with central public gathering spaces and really strong urban design principles and a walkable community. Obviously, there's challenges in this location, particularly with the street and access network. Reorientation of Willamette Falls Drive to create that sort of Main Street concept, and then making sure that that intensified development can still allow access to the PGE site and also doesn't impact negatively the 205 ramp and the Arch Bridge. In the Cultural Heritage District, this location is really recognised as an opportunity to create a regional or nationally recognised destination that can really unlock the potential of both the natural assets of this area, as well as the industrial and cultural heritage and Indigenous heritage of this site. In this district, the area is very reliant on private property. It's majority owned by private property interests. There's also quite a lot of topography and flood potential issues along this site that would need to be considered in its future land use. And as well, there's an operating power plant on the island that is also governed by a boundary that's a federal mandated boundary that protects the power generating process. And then there's the potential in this area is also somewhat dictated by access and the ability to access and park potential land uses in this area as well. In the Pond District, there's a lot of public interest in the opportunity to support and restore natural areas and wetlands, wildlife habitats, and integrate that with open space and trails and access, increased access to the river. And where appropriate, maybe incorporating lower intensity development that fits within that environment. In this area, obviously in more intensive development has the potential to impact those potential natural areas. So there's a balancing act to be had here. As well as that, traffic and access, the street network in this area is fairly narrow and lacks sidewalks in many places. And so alternative access and to any future development would need to be identified here. And then lastly, I guess the two last points on this area is it is the lowest lying area of the waterfront, and so is probably the most susceptible to flood. So that's reflected in some of the changes we've made in this area. And then lastly, the cost of environmental remediation would need to be factored into whatever future there is for the pond district down here. So with all that, when we took the draft vision plan out to public consultation in late 2024, early in January this year, we had over 200 responses, and the graphic here just shows that we had, of those responses, 2/3 of respondents said they somewhat or strongly agree that the vision plan accurately reflects the community's vision for the waterfront in its entirety. We also asked that question for each of the districts, and we received similar amounts of support, in some cases more, up to 3/4 of people agreed that the vision outlined in each of those districts matched what they would see for the area. So with that, we took those comments and referred those into a new draft that we took to the project working group. They moved that they recommended we move forward with the plan with some recommendations for adjustments to language, particularly around affordable housing, some mention of smart growth development, access, and reuse of existing structures. The report was also taken to Planning Commission, who had their own recommendations around representing the floodplain with the 1996 flood elevation rather than the 100-year floodplain that we had used, and then making some updates to nomenclature in the ponds district and in the map legends. You'll recall we brought those back to a work session on October 7th, and from that council requested that we replace that flood boundary, make those nomenclature updates, and also draft language to add to the vision plan that would focus on encouraging the preservation of existing structures, particularly in the cultural heritage district, and also that we add some language around affordable housing. So those map changes were made and had some impacts to how we were showing the floodplains and potential development areas in the pond district and the floodplain in the cultural heritage district. We also took the opportunity to inventory where we had existing language on the preservation of historic structures in the report, as well as where we had reference to affordable housing. And then we brought those changes back to the work session on October 21, where you accepted our map changes, and then we presented several alternatives for language changes, and you directed us to focus those on affordable housing and the preservation of existing structures. Following that meeting, we also received some public comment from the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and were directed to just ensure that the language that's included in the plan references the most up-to-date work from the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. So lastly, what we're bringing back to you tonight, the changes that we've made to the document since that work session. To address affordable housing, we've modified our housing density and parking section to include the language, the city should allow a variety of housing types to encourage affordability across income ranges and use targeted infrastructure investments, incentives, and expedited permitting to support development. To address reuse of buildings, we modified the Cultural Heritage District Framework Plan to include the language partner with property owners to identify key historic sites and structures and encourage rehabilitation and reuse. And then while we don't call out any of the tribes specifically in the vision plan, we did adjust some language to make sure that on our reference to projects and planning efforts on page 8 of the document, we're just making reference to the most up-to-date vision plan for the Tumwater Village vision from the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. And with that, that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you. If you could, really quick, go back to the pond district. I wanted to bring up with council one potential final amendment. We've received a lot of public comment and may receive some tonight about the map and the issue, the potential development area there in the bottom left that some folks have been concerned about. And we've talked about that at City Council multiple times. And we're trying to balance property rights and our need to stay non-biased without taking a position on potential development and changing. We've received requests to change the map. So I don't think I've heard from council a desire to do that, but I did myself, just after reading some of the recent testimony, think of a potential compromise amendment to make sure this page reflects some of the community concerns we've heard, just to add in. And by the way, we took out this reference to medium density residential in the planning stage to not tilt the scale as a result of public comments. So we have been responding to the public, but I wanted to add in one potential text box just pointing to the wetland area in general that says natural resource preservation and rehabilitation. Just to make clear that that was something that's important to the community in the wetland area, because we've heard that multiple times, and I did know there are several places where it's referenced. I'm not going to read them, but we did receive information on that. But I wanted to gauge the council kind of if there's an interest in adding a language that kind of just in one of those text boxes that would point to the wetland area in general, rather than taking a position on the map itself related to this property. Councilor Bragg.
Thank you, Mayor. I do agree. In reading through all of the materials, all of the attachments, the appendix, the language throughout has talked about preserving the wetlands and taking care of the environmental issues, and the sticking point seems to be this map. And I do appreciate that it used to say potential and/or priority development, and that has been removed. It still says potential development area, and particularly the part that is so close to the wetlands that is adjacent to Fifth Avenue. I think if we could maybe even change the color of the map in that area. We have other potential development on the map that I'm looking at that's closer to Willamette Falls Drive.
So do you, you would propose changing the map rather than just adding in a statement that says to the general area, support natural resource preservation? Is that, am I correct in hearing that?
The information I think would be very helpful, but I do think, I mean, I look at this and with the wetlands, the adjacent to the wetlands, and in the, close to the floodplain, there's not very much potential for development in that area. There are so many hoops to jump through to be able to do that. So I don't know if it's worth keeping it on the map.
Thank you for that comment. Any other comments? We can just get through this issue now. Councilor Groner.
Yeah, it is my belief that the color coding on the map reflects the current zoning of the area. And I think changing those colors are in a sense deceptive. And so while I agree that adding a comment on preservation of wetlands is important, I would not recommend changing the color codes on the map.
Points noted. Any other comments? I can go to Council President and Councilor Bragg.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. And I guess I would wonder if the staff or consultants would have any input or on whether or not that's advisable to change the color or what the ramifications might be for zoning?
There would be no impact to current zoning. Again, this is just showing as a potential development area. It doesn't signify that it will actually get developed, just like some of the other areas up along Willamette Falls Drive. There's potential there. Whether or not it happens, that's something that will be flushed out when we go through a zoning exercise and putting code in place.
Thank you.
Councillor Bonington?
Yeah, I had a similar thought as you, it would seem, about trying to figure out some sort of accommodation for what the public comment is requesting. I think your solution is perfectly good for that. And just simply singling out an individual property and kind of hinting at what the zoning could or should be in the future is not a look that we want to have. It would show kind of a bias on our part. So whatever we can do to encourage environmental protection and rehabilitation is fantastic.
I appreciate that and agree. I think we're all on the same page about wanting to preserve the environment as much as possible. Councillor Bright, did you have a follow-up?
I'll just remind that this is a vision plan, so it doesn't have to say what is there now. It has to say what we would like it to be. So as far as what Councillor Groner said, it's not deceptive. We're just looking at a vision.
Council President, what is your thoughts on the path forward? The two options before us, change the map or add in a statement?
And what if we do both?
Could do both. Okay. All right. I'm flexible, so.
I really appreciate Councillor Brike's comments about how this would reflect the volume of input and engagement we've gotten from individuals about the community's wish for this property, and it's pretty strongly held. It's been consistent, and so I would think we would be honoring the community's wishes by doing that.
So if we were to make that change, would that just be to return the map to a green? It looks like there's green underneath that yellow there, so. Okay, well, is there a consensus on the council? It sounds like Councilor Bond said that would be okay. Councilor Bright, Council President Baumgartner, I'm okay with it. I've felt this tension between my the signal of changing the map, but it's also an aspirational plan, and it's not the city taking a position on a development application at all. In fact, it still could get approved or denied based on the code provisions, but this is an aspirational document for the community, so I'm open to that as well. So I suppose we can. There's been a consensus there, so the motion will say as amended, and the amendments are add in a box that says natural resource preservation and rehabilitation, and then change that the map to just show the base layer. And I will note, there are other areas in there that are probably technically developable as well that aren't yellow, across the street, for example. Maybe it's because they're already developed, but it's okay to change the map. So we'll deliver the community a win on the map. So, okay, those two things we've kind of taken care of there. So I just wanted to make sure we talked about that. And I thought it'd be helpful to at least have the conversation before we take public comment, in case there's some folks who are commenting about that and would want to respond. So with that, any questions of staff on the whole plan? Okay, well, then we can take public comment.
Jim Edwards?
No, public comment first, then motion, then we can all make a statement. Mr. Edwards, welcome back. Glad you are here, and go ahead and state your name and city residence, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Jim Edwards. I've lived in West Linn for 30 years, and I'm here tonight representing the advocates for Willamette Falls Heritage. I always have a hard time saying that because it's our new name. But the advocates have authorized me to advocate for the adoption of the vision plan as written and as amended by you tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. And we talked about the reuse language, and I'm hopeful that the advocates are at least, if not 100% happy, they're satisfied with the language in there about preserving structures where possible.
We are happy with that language.
Sounds good. Great. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Any other comments?
Terrence Shoemaker.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Mr. Shoemaker, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, very good. This is Terrence Shoemaker, resident of Willamette area. The cover page is titled Westland Waterfront Project, then in very large font, Community Vision Plan. And in that plan, the majority of respondents to the survey indicated their preference for natural areas, wetland protection, and the protection of wetlands within the pond district. Additionally, over 4,000 signatures were received on a petition to save, protect, and rehabilitate the wetlands for public use. After much testimony before the Planning Commission by members of Friends of Willamette Wetlands and others, the Planning Commission unanimously agreed that the label potential development area on the land at the northern edge of the wetlands bordering Fifth Avenue should be removed. Unfortunately, it appears that this body has ignored one of the Planning Commission's most important recommendations by refusing to require the Planning Department to remove the potential housing development label from the map on page 36 of the vision plan. This appears to disregard the wishes of a majority of community respondents. It is also a rejection of the recommendation of the Planning Commission, which is composed of professionals with expertise in many aspects of design, planning, construction, and development. They exist because they provide professional expertise that the City Council does not have. Therefore, they act in a professional advisory role to provide advice and recommendations based on facts, data, and public testimony. The vision plan was billed in large letters as a community vision plan, not a City Council vision plan, not a planning department vision plan, and not a developer vision plan. It is and was promoted for 10 years as a community vision plan. To remove the label on the map and replace it with appropriate legend key is not an act of bias for or against anyone or any entity. It is merely the execution of your duties to implement the overwhelming desires of the community and the professional recommendations of the Planning Commission. Therefore, I urge you to do the proper thing. Require the Planning Department to change the map labels as directed by the Planning Commission before you approve this plan. And the amendment that you have made, I don't think fully satisfies this requirement. To do so will show the community that you not only hear them, but that you also take the power and responsibilities of your position seriously. Thanks a lot for your time. And also, I might say that Russ Axelrod submitted a statement, and because I'm not able to, he had requested that the mayor read his statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker, and I hope you're able to hear our earlier discussion, and we did, in response to several comments from Friends of Willamette Wetlands, make a couple of changes, including removing the label on the map and adding in some language about natural resource preservation and rehabilitation. So we appreciate all the advocacy of the groups.
I did hear that part of the meeting.
Okay. Yep. And then we also did receive a comment from Russ Axelrod, former mayor, and he did request that I read that. We generally don't read public comments but we've entered it into the record, and we've all had a chance to consider it. And there's various policy reasons why we don't read other people's comments and on the record. So with that, any other comments on the vision plan? Any other comments? Oh, there are none. Okay. Okay, well, with that, so we did have discussion, make a couple of changes. So and are you comfortable, staff, knowing the changes that we made? Or do we need to recite them? I was just going to have the resolution adopted as amended.
Yes, but it's very clear what you have asked
Okay.
us to do.
You would just say adopting as amended. Unless you want to state the amendments, but you can just as amended, and the record shows that
I think we should be stating the amendment.
to the plan.
Yes.
Okay. So. So it's adding. Okay, I'll just state the amendment then, and then you can do so moved. So the amendments are adding a text box pointing towards the wetland area on page 36, saying natural resource preservation and rehabilitation. And then for south of Fifth Avenue, just removing the yellow color and just allowing it to be whatever's underneath it, which I think is white and green to reflect the environmental habitat based on what I can see. So those are the two amendments. So now you can move to adopt the resolution and waterfront vision plan as amended.
I move to adopt the resolution 2025-13, adopting the Westland Waterfront Vision Plan as amended.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2025-13, adopting the Westland Waterfront Vision Plan as amended. And I am happy to open the floor up to City Council for any comments at this time, at this monumental time. I have a comment, but I want to open the floor up to the City Council. And I also want to thank the council for a thoughtful debate on the issue. And the City Council doesn't always agree, so we had a nice debate, and then we came to a nice consensus. Thank you, Councilor Bragg, for your work there. Council President, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I won't carry on, but I am very excited about this night and this vote and this vision plan. I've spent years talking to people in various areas of the waterfront, community members, stakeholders in various historic districts, and Indigenous people who I believe we owe it to them to engage as much as we possibly can. And not that we can speak for Indigenous people, and I'm not trying to do that, but that we have a duty to partner with Indigenous people who were forcibly removed from this area and have been disconnected in many ways, although have made valiant efforts and been successful at practicing their traditional lifeways. And so I hope that we're able to create better access going forward and partner with the Grand Ronde, for instance, but the other tribes of the area that traditionally came and visited, the tribes of the Yakama Nation, the tribes of the Umatilla, Confederated Tribes of Umatilla, the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians, and numbers unknown of non-enrolled tribal members. Portland has one of the largest non-enrolled Native populations in a metropolitan area, certainly in the Pacific Northwest. So being able to engage people and reconnect and offer opportunities for people to reconnect is really important to me. So this is very significant, and I'm extremely grateful for all the work everyone has done on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. And Councilor Bonington?
There's still quite a lot of work to do to really get this moving, but for once we can really say something is truly happening down here. And yeah, in a roundabout way, being able to vote yes on this right now is fulfilling a bit of a childhood dream. So I'm very excited for that.
Thank you, Councilor. And I want to thank our staff team, Mr. Weiss and Mr. Williams, and consultants who all helped us get to this point, and also former staff. And John Floyd worked on this project as well in the past. Listen, I ran for city council in 2020, 5 years ago. Can you believe that? To get something going on the waterfront. And I want to thank the community, the planning commission, the working group, and all those who've written in and participated in all of our engagement over the last really 10 years. This is a historic day for West Linn, and the waterfront is an area of tremendous opportunity for our city. And I'm really hopeful that by adopting this plan, our city and really the region will have a gathering place with shops, restaurants, parks, tribal space, another Main Street maybe, that would be awesome. And other opportunities right near the majestic Willamette Falls, which is the second largest waterfall in the country by volume, right here in West Linn. We can't see it, but hopefully soon we'll be able to have a lot of places where we can see it and hopefully have a coffee and do all that stuff. So I'm excited to continue to dream with the West Linn community about what this special place in West Linn will be. And so the next steps will be continuing community engagement and I think adopting eventually a new zoning overlay for the property and probably updating our comprehensive plan over the next couple of years to really start to spur the potential development in the especially down near the Arch Bridge. So very exciting. Thank you, everybody, and thanks for your comments. And with that, we can call the roll. Oh, I will. So we've heard from the public, and I'll close the public hearing now. Thank you for that procedural point. The public hearing is now closed, and we've had council deliberation, discussion, amendments, and the motion has been made, and I will now call the question.
Counselor Reich?
Yes.
Council President Baumgartner?
Yes.
Counselor Groner?
Yes.
Counselor Bonington?
Yes.
Mayor Bielosasi?
Yes. So the motion passes. And I never use the gavel for motions passing, but for that one, I'm going to use it because it's showing something special. So thank you, Darren, and our team. And Darren, any final comments from you? You've been here about 7 to 9 years. I can't remember how long you've been here, but you've been working on this almost the entire time.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to recognize Adrian and his team for all the work they put into this. It's a lot of engagement and a lot of changes were made to the document over the last couple of years. So greatly appreciated their input into this document. And thank you to council for getting it to the finish line.
Thanks.
I'd like to just make one comment.
Oh, go ahead, Council President, before we move on.
Thank you, Mayor. I just also wanted to make a special thanks to the Advocates for Heritage because of the incredible amount of volunteer hours you all have spent just with passion and dedication and following up with requests to make changes and painstakingly reading policy documents.
Yeah.
And you are all to be very applauded. And without engaged community members, where would we be? We are so appreciative of your input and all that you've done. So thank you very much, all of you.
Appreciate that.
And all of the people listening online who might be not able to come tonight, thank you all.
Our community shaped this vision plan, and we saw it tonight. We've seen it with all the additions that we've made as results of testimony. So we appreciate the advocates. Thank you all. Got a strong team with a Robert Moore Award winner and 2 former counselors there. Very, very good. Thank you, Jim. Have a good night. Would you like to take a break or are we ready to keep going? All right. Oh yeah, she's 7th, that's right. She's got something going on. So we'll keep going. Next item is the CCPOA, Clackamas County Peace Officers Association Collective Bargaining Agreements and the ratification from the City Council. And Police Chief Mahuna, it's your last night. I'm so glad you're here. We're making you stay late as we would for our esteemed Police Chief. We're glad you're here.
Mayor and Council, very pleased to have our A-team here from both our management side and our police union side, which really aren't sides. We're all a team working together. And I think the proposal that you're going to hear in front of you this evening is representative of that. I'm very, very pleased. It's rare for us to have a meeting where we have 3 such huge topics on the agenda in such different parts of our world. We've got, you just completed a years-long effort for future visioning. Here we have an important staff milestone, recognizing the great work of our police department. And then we're going to get into some hard infrastructure stuff about how we're taking care of our facilities. So it's really reaching milestones right here at the end of the year on big topics. So I'm really pleased to introduce the folks here and thank you all for your work getting us here. I understand Kelsey is going to do much of the conversation. So Kelsey Card, our HR manager, will lead us off. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you for your time this evening. Just a little bit of history. In June of this year, the city management team and the Clackamas County Peace Officer Association Union began bargaining a collective bargaining agreement between the CCPOA members rank and file and the members of the CCPOA sergeants to be effective July 1 of 2025. Bargaining two successor agreements at the same time was a new experience for both city management as well as CCPOA. And we're really pleased to report that all parties were able to navigate bargaining sessions with respect, professionalism, and even transparency. The main focus points of the negotiation were for CCPOA to address recognition, retention, medical and retirement benefits. And for the city, we really had minimal organizational requests. We engaged in negotiations from the beginning of June until the beginning of October. And when you look at that, that's actually kind of a relatively short timeframe. In early October, the parties reached tentative agreement to a 3-year contract for cost of living adjustments for fiscal year 26, a 3% increase. And then for future fiscal year 27, a range of 2 to 4% increase, and fiscal year 28, a range of 2 to 4% increase to be determined by the previous calendar year's consumer price index, Western Cities B and C, which we have done in the past. As mentioned, CCPOA's primary focus was retention, longevity specifically, and retirement medical benefits. And so city management really explored a variety of programs to determine if there was a viable option for example, Clackamas County Sheriff Office currently offers medical retirement benefit, which is supported and funded through a trust. And looking at that, just determined off the size of our operation and the financial investment and sustainability, that wasn't really going to be a viable option for us. And so we turned to look at what programs and benefits we already offer and see if we could maybe look to enhance those. And so to meet both objectives, recognition and medical retirement benefits, the city looks to provide a longevity incentive with contribution towards an HRA or VEBA account to individual employees. So based on tenure and how long officers have been with the department, continuous employment, the longer you're here, the more of a contribution they would receive. You know, again, this is a way that we can capture both recognition, retention, keep the momentum of the fantastic officers and police department that we have, and continue to look to build upon that. Additionally, both units, it was agreed upon marginal increase in legal defense plan members for both groups from $6.50 to $8. Outside of the CCPOA rank and file contract, the sergeant bargaining team and the city's management team agreed to a 0.5% increase to all sergeants' base salary rate in lieu of a direct payment by the city to an employee's individual deferred compensation plan, going from 4% to 4.5%. This is to address potential compression issues as well as incentivize growth and internal promotions for officers to hopefully one day become sergeants here. On the city management side, really our focus was, and our ask was, to bring field officer training pay into alignment within the market. The current calculation for field officer training resulted in a 18.72% premium rate on the hours worked as an FTO. The bargaining units agreed to a flat 12% calculation, which still has the department on the higher end of the market, but definitely more in line with the comparable agencies. So with all things considered, this is approximately a $19,188 under budget between both contracts over the 3 years, assuming the budget methodologies for the biennium 27 remains the same as current. CCPOA's members voted to ratify the contracts in late October. Finally, I think it's really important to note that we're seeing more agencies than not head towards mediation to settle contracts. And I think that we're all in agreement that the leadership and trust built among the police command staff with Chief Mahuna and Captain Rawlins, and then the trust amongst city leadership really is what kind of propelled and allowed us to come to agreement so quickly without going to mediation.
Thank you. So I conclude the staff report. Okay. Well, any questions or comments, or would somebody like to make a motion? We've got 3 resolutions for this. We got two contracts in the police management roll-ups.
Quick comment.
Oh, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank all of you and to also recognize the importance of everyone working together so that we can create what will be a very competitive and attractive benefit situation so that we can compete with other agencies and attract the most excellent personnel possible. I've always felt that very strongly about the importance of that, and that people feel valued who work here. And so I appreciate all of you for making sure that that happened. So thank you.
Agreed. I think this retirement benefit is really nice, and we talk a lot about retention of police officers and making sure people want to stay at Westland. I think it's really something, if you do stay for 15, 20 years, you get a nice medical retirement benefit to help you after you retire. And I also just want to appreciate it came in right around the budget mark for the city, and we're facing potential budget deficit. So really appreciate that. And I also want to just comment on the culture that you, Catlin, and John Remington, and Chief Mahuna, Captain Rawlins, you've built at the police department, along with our Sergeants Union, Sergeant Garland. And I mean, we always talk about the police department's culture, and it's just wonderful to see everybody working so well together and serving our community so well, and just the tight bond that we have at the police department. So really appreciate it, and appreciate you all being here. The fact that got union members and management here sitting together at the time of the contract signing is very wonderful. And as the agenda bill mentioned, a lot of cities are going to potential mediation with their bargaining. We were able to really settle this, which is a testament to the culture and leadership that you've all built. So, any other comments on I was going to give my comment after the motion, but it's okay. You beat me to it, Mary.
Thank you.
Please, we
Okay.
have 3 motions.
I move to adopt Resolution 2025-15, authorizing the Clackamas County Peace Officers Association, CCPOA, collective bargaining agreement for the rank and file officers and non-sworn.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2025-15, and authorizing the Clackamas County Peace Officers Association's collective bargaining agreement for the rank and file officers and non-sworn. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Council President Baumgartner?
Yes.
Councilor Groner?
Yes.
Councilor Bonington?
Yes.
Councilor Bright?
Yes.
Mayor Bielostowski?
Yes, so the motion passes, and the first resolution is approved, and we'll move on to 2025-16.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 2025-16, authorizing the Clackamas County Peace Officers Association, CCPOA, collective bargaining agreement for police sergeants.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2025-16, authorizing the Clackamas County Peace Officers Association collective bargaining agreement for police sergeants. Any discussion? None. Call the roll, please.
Councilor Bonington?
Yes.
Councilor Bright?
Yes.
Council President Baumgartner?
Yes.
Councilor Groner?
Yes.
Mayor Bielostowski?
Yes, so the motion passes unanimously. And finally, it's Resolution 25-17.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
There is a staff report for the third one. So I
Oh.
could explain.
Please,
what
go
the third
ahead.
One is
That's-
for, so
Explain them. Okay, so the third one, historically, city council has requested that staff bring forward a request for wage and benefit adjustments that's equitable as possible for the city's different employee groups. So as we've settled the contracts for CCPA for the two union groups under the umbrella, we're bringing forward a request to change the benefit offerings for the police management and confidential group in an attempt to avoid compression and be equitable as possible. So the staff report is recommending an increase to the VIBA contributions matching the sergeant's longevity tier for the police management and confidential positions.
Thank you. I think that makes sense. Council President, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 2025-17, adding benefits for police management and confidential staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2025-17, adding benefits for police management and confidential staff. I see no discussion, so call the roll, please.
Counselor Reich?
Yes.
Council President Baumgartner?
Yes.
Counselor Groner?
Yes.
Counselor Bonington?
Yes.
Mayor Beasley?
Yes, so the motion passes unanimously and all contracts are approved. And I don't know if I sign those or John signs those, but we'll get those as soon as possible. So we appreciate you all. And Chief Mahuna, it's your final council meeting with us. So when's your last day? Tomorrow. Wow, and your retirement party's coming up on Saturday. Looking forward to being there. I'll have maybe even a statement to give there, but just wanted to, yeah, no, you've been a tremendous asset to our city. Councilor Bonington gave some comments at the beginning of the meeting, but glad to have you here tonight and wishing you, obviously, the whole city council wishes you a happy retirement and enjoy a lot of time with your family here and in Hawaii, because I know you're going to be going there a little bit more often, hopefully.
Here.
So, and anybody else, if you'd like to jump in and make it, we'll all see you on Saturday anyway, so we can some more comments there, but okay, thank you, everybody. Topic 2 of 3, big topic 2 of 3 done. Got one more, and we just appreciate the bargaining teams and glad to have that item ratified. I like that.
Thank you all for waiting.
Yes.
Good night, Peter. See you in sometime. Not sure when. Bye.
Of course, I also want to recognize real quick, Ron Hosley's retiring as well from the police department. This is his last week, so we appreciate his service.
Indeed, we do.
To the
Indeed, we
community.
do. Big changes in the police department. But I think, as you heard Kelsey say, and as many of you said, I think the fact that we were able to reach this agreement when many other communities have struggled to do that right now shows the strength of the relationship that we have with the police department, and it's cooperative. It's a cooperative approach, and that, as you said, that its credit goes to both the rank and file, the sergeants, and the command staff. Maybe a little bit to us up here at City Hall, so maybe we'll see. But thank you for that action. So yes, item 3 of 3, come on up. Whoever is coming up, the whole team. Mayor and Council, you have talked at several recent meetings about design and cost of the city's proposed operations complex to be built on Salamo Road and replacing our facility on Norfolk Street. You've looked at designs, you've looked at costs, you've looked at cost sharing. Today's report and the packet materials provided in advance have a new proposed breakdown of the costs, have a more stronger, I would say, recommendation on the design elements. And our purpose here tonight is to seek council approval of the recommended design concept. And if you do support that design and the cost sharing that you'll be hearing about from our staff, our goal is to bring this back to you for formal decision-making at a future meeting. And I guess I will just say you've been at it for a while. I noticed one counselor leaving. Do you need a couple of minutes before we keep going? Okay, all right, then we will keep going. And as usual, I've probably said 50% of what Eric was going to say, but I think it's really important for us to define the goal for each meeting. And that's, so to make it clear.
I appreciate that.
What we're hoping to accomplish tonight and formalize it at a future meeting. So Eric, if you can summarize what we have here tonight.
Sure. Thank you, John, and Mayor and councilors Eric Leyes, Public Works Director and City Engineer. Sorry, I got distracted. We lost a counselor.
Oh.
But,
He'll be right back. He just ran it.
So as you may recall, we were here on November 4th for a work session. Staff, city architect, owner's rep, and our general contractor brought forward a design update for the operations complex, along with two alternative options, options 2 and option 3. The two alternative options were the result of a comprehensive value engineering exercise, which aims to reduce project costs by identifying alternate construction methodologies, design configurations, and alternative materials and sourcing methods. Staff is recommending option 2, which proposes to stack the administration office building on top of the fleet maintenance and streets shop. Through the value engineering efforts, option 2 presented the most cost savings while still maintaining the majority of the original programming. Trade-offs include a reduction in covered parking, elimination of 2 bays for future expansion that reduces site development on the upper tier, eliminating the need for 30-foot tall retaining wall, etc. Additional pros and cons of this build option will be discussed shortly with the design presentation prepared for tonight. Moving forward with option 2 is the most equitable that can still be absorbed by the utility funds along with the parks and the general fund. In addition, maintaining momentum with the design and construction documents is critical for the project timeline. Missing a late spring, early summer of this next year's site work would add an additional $1 million back into the project for wet weather contingencies. At the November 4th council work session, council requested more detail, long-term funding strategies that could be utilized for the operations facility. Morgan, in a little bit, will touch on those strategies when she goes over the project budget presentation, which will follow the design presentation, which will give council more detail on the proposal of option 2. So with that little background, everybody knows Morgan Lovell, project manager, Julia Stong with our owner's rep of Klosh Group, Brandon Dole, Scott Edwards, architecture, and on the end, Kim Larson, general contractor, Skanska. So with that, we can kick off our presentation by Julia.
Thank you. Welcome.
Great, thank you, Eric. So scrolling to our agenda slide, as Eric noted. Where do we have the clicker? Try it. We'll test it out and let you know. Going back to what Eric was speaking to, so in our last council presentation on the 4th, we shared a variety of options with you. Today, we're really just going to be diving into the original design and the staffed proposed solution of option 2. From there, we'll go into a comparison of both of those options so that you can best understand the pros and cons as we move forward. You're good. Keep going. Thank you. Alrighty, so everyone should be fairly familiar with our original design, where we have 3 separate buildings. The admin building sits on the top tier, and both warehouse buildings sit on the second tier. Morgan will get more into the budget and cost of each of these options, so we're just going to focus on the design. Ultimately, this design gets the city everything they're asking for, right? I mean, it's covered parking, We're building on the upper lot and having the admin building, and we have separation for operations on the lower lot. But as you know, ultimately, this is a costly option, and we'd like to dive in deeper to option 2 today. So Scott Edwards has just finished the design package for the 100% design development for option 2, and we're really excited for them to dig into some of those details so that you can see the vision and understand how option 2 still gets you a lot of the amenities that you're seeing here in the original design. So if we want to move forward, and these are the renderings for the original design, which you've all seen.
Okay, so for option 2, proposed option, as mentioned, the intent here was to help align, more of the budget with what a city is actually able to pull off, while also maintaining the majority of the operational function, maintaining a lot of the original design intent, a lot of the, work that has been done today. And so what we had proposed as a reminder was to move from a 3-building solution to a 2-building solution. Essentially, you could imagine that office building, that single-story building, sliding over that grade change and just landing on top of that building B, fleet maintenance. We're still maintaining all of the upper lot. You can see up in that upper lot, we're still accommodating bulk material storage, both covered and uncovered, accommodating fuel, de-icing. We're accommodating storage, parking, and trash bin parking up there. We've got truck wash and decant. So all of those amenities, all those operational, I call them accoutrement of Public Works, is there and included in the proposal. We've got some staff parking at that upper lot, and we would be in the position to build a pedestrian bridge that goes from that parking lot to that upper level of the office building. That bridge allows us, as mentioned, to forego any site retainage, any major grading of that hillside, and really rely on the natural state of the site. We've made some slight modifications to the lower yard. We've actually shrunk essentially the paved area. You can see the building A has moved up against that paved area, that curb line, if you will. Building A has shrunk in size. We've reduced bays. And you can also see further development of the site. We're continuing to lay out our parking, continuing to show where we can accommodate covered parking, while also maintaining all operation best practices, right? We want the city to be able to come at this project with all best practices and from safety operational. So we're really looking and ensuring that vehicle circulation is thoroughly thought out in that lower lot.
Yeah, there's a kind of a parallelogram at the lower level. What is that?
Oh, that is the covered parking area. So you can see it's got that funky shape. That funky shape is to allow for vehicle circulation. So it's intended just to cover the parking, and those are diagonal parking spaces.
Thank you.
Great question. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So you can see option 2, again, as we've mentioned, accommodates all of the program, all of the functions, still with the lens of best practice, industry standards, with the goal to allow for future growth into the facility over the next 20 years. This is still a one crack at it that gets you, all the way across the finish line. Again, while maintaining all of the design integrity, all of the design that all of us in the room have come to enjoy. You can see still that the wetland is being accommodated by the buffer and still a major feature amenity of the site. Any questions from council on the layout? Anything? No? Okay. Next slide, please. So we were asked to kind of give you a little bit more insight to the building. Again, reassuring that we're accommodating function and operation. So in this building, this is building A. You can essentially think of it as a large warehouse and think of Home Depot or any large freespan facility. We've got that middle section labeled warehouse and storage. These are pull-in bays where vehicles can come in, can be parked, stored, can be loaded and unloaded, all protected from weather and freezing. So the different divisions of Public Works and Parks will start to use these bays, and we'll work with them to program them. This building will also accommodate a wood shop and a building maintenance area. So fabrication, if you will, the ability to fix a park bench and also continue maintaining just other facilities throughout the site. And we have janitorial and restroom accommodations on the building you can see there. Next slide. Building B, now originally a single-story building with mezzanine space, has shrunk in height to accommodate that single-story office building. So this is that lower floor plan, right? This is the operations yard. You walk in off of that ground level into this floor plan. It's a warehouse building, so free span, large volume spaces. On the right is fleet maintenance. Envision 4 service bays, a place where 4 vehicles can be accommodated for service and maintenance. We've got accommodations for parts, fabrication areas, welding, work that is done on the equipment, and the chemical storage. There's also an office provided for the fleet maintenance manager. Next to that is 2 bays for streets. There's a lot of adjacency requirements between that crew and the fleet maintenance, so they are paired together. We're providing a sign shop. And then all of the gray areas, storage, circulation, back of house, restrooms, things like laundry and boot wash, just other programmatic elements common to operations facilities. Next slide, thank you. So this is that single-story office building that has been slid from that upper terrace over on top of the fleet maintenance building. Hopefully it looks familiar. We did a lot of work to try to maintain layout, form, and function. What we did do was we pulled about 20 feet out of the length of this building. So we pulled 10 out of that front patio, that overhang space, and 10 feet out of what is the lobby, the break room in that area. So that achieved the goal in our VE effort. You can see the bridge coming in from the bottom left portion of the view. You would come into the building in a vestibule and be, meted with a nice public lobby. That lobby is paired with reception, adjacency to conference and restrooms. So that's the community area of this building. That's the extents and limits to which, like myself, would be able to come into the building without being escorted. You can see we have a large break area. This is a multi-function flexible space. It's meant to be a place where the department breaks bread and eats together, but also can accommodate all staff meetings, departmental meetings. It's flexible. We're proposing a partition wall down the middle so that multiple meetings can be held in this space. A really nice space. It'll be looking out over the wetland amenity. From there, you can see we've got a lot of back of house spaces centralized. So all of the dark gray is storage and mechanical spaces, server rooms. We've got an open locker room paired with fitness and sleep quiet spaces. So nursing room, a place where maybe an individual could take insulin or medication, or somewhere where someone could potentially stay overnight in the event of emergency. We've got crew rooms for each of the divisions, so you can see them labeled water, environment, streets, and a slightly larger space accommodation for parks. The office area, we'll have a facilities office. Eric's office will be there. We'll have some other water quality components, a conference room for staff to use, and then a nice storage space. We'll tack on a stair to the outside, so that'll provide egress for crews to get down to that lower yard. So you would move vertically through the building via an elevator or that exterior stair. Again, this plan allows for day 1 accommodations as well as 20 years down the line. The intent here is that the department would be able to grow inside the building without the need to actually grow and expand the building. Any questions on this building or the prior one?
Council President Baumgart, please.
Thank you. So just so I'm orienting correctly, the side of the building with the break area down to the parks is overlooking the wetland?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Nice.
And we can roll to the next slide. You'll get a little bit more vision. All right. I think you've seen this.
Before you leave the previous one, please.
Councilor Groner.
Where's the elevator in this drawing?
Okay, so the elevator, if you envision yourself coming into the lobby and you move through that security door into the corridor, the box or square with the X through it, that is the elevator.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good question. So I believe you've seen this image. Again, this is a reminder of maintaining all of the design integrity, putting all the natural structure on display. This essentially, and I don't mean to simplify the team's work, but essentially you can imagine just that building moving over and sliding on top of it and reducing how much site development to the extent possible. We'll have to accommodate with a bridge, but you can see there what it would start to feel like, parking your vehicle, walking across this nice pedestrian bridge to this nice covered outdoor space before you move into the building. You can see that the lower level implies the vehicle bays, how vehicles would be staged and moved in and out of that warehouse component. And then where the staff themselves would move into the building and move vertically through it.
I just was wondering if it would be possible or desirable to cover the walkway?
Definitely possible, and I imagine staff would say that would be desirable.
Okay.
We can definitely look at that, yeah. We've not fully designed that bridge. We know structurally how to accommodate it, but a cover is something we can definitely explore.
Thank you.
Then you'd get a little covered space outside too.
Yeah, that you can see where in the image where the people are standing there before they go into the building, that's essentially a covered area. And then that patio is full length of that side of the building so that the staff break area could spill out onto it as well. And it actually allows the building to function after hours to some degree. It can actually control access, given that it has that adjacency to the patio bridge. Any other questions on design intent,
No.
materiality?
When can I move in?
I would wish you could say tomorrow. I mean, we're ready to start going, but we have a little bit of time.
It's beautiful.
Thank you for that.
It's a process. It's beautiful, but also essential to the city for all that it's going to do for our departments.
There is no reason why an operations facility like this cannot be attractive. And
Absolutely.
a pleasant place for staff to work. We talk a lot about recruitment, retention. There's a level of competitiveness against the private market. So yes, the community is deserving of such a facility.
I don't see any other questions, so you can continue on to.
Yes, next slide. And I think it's, yeah, comparison, pros and cons. And I'm going to hand it off to Kim here from Skanska.
Absolutely, thank you. It was important to our team to collectively review and collaborate on the pros and cons of the design, just to make sure that we all understood due diligence. And so that's why we were recommending that option too. As we walked through those pros and cons of each of these design options, this is what the team came up with, which was the win-win for West Linn. Option 2 is the best overall value. We had a budget in mind. We have a rough order of magnitude that we're working from. This design allows us to retain as much program as we can. And it minimizes the loss of any of the core maintenance, admin, or operational capacity. So that's really fantastic. It minimizes our schedule and cost risk for unforeseen because we're sliding that building over the top. With the slope, we know that that is a very difficult slope to deal with. There are some soil conditions that we're just aware of that minimizes that risk. We're keeping a spectacular view. This is going to be outstanding. As a resident, I'm excited to see what that's going to look like, and I'm excited for the city to have such a great facility. The efficient workflow, having both the admin on top of the maintenance and those buildings so close to one another, I think that there's some opportunities there. It's a smaller carbon footprint. So let's talk about sustainability and why that's important to our community. That's fantastic. As you mentioned, Brandon, the future proofing, we feel like this is also a space that you can grow. It's a political win because we also know that there are, this is delivering a high quality facility for a responsible price. And we know if we go with option 2, that gives us the opportunity with the schedule that we have to stay in that dry weather. So schedule will become important. Again, it's preserving the natural landscape, it's community friendly, and it's sustainable. So we're super excited about option 2 and feel like that again is the win-win for West Linn. There were some cons, but we feel like as a team, we can minimize that. And those are manageable trade-offs, and you can see those over to the right-hand side there. Again, the original design is beautiful. It is fantastic. It maximizes all of those amenities with some of the covered parking, the pull-throughs, and separating the buildings. A slightly larger footprint, which is a little nicer, but honestly, I think the team has done a fantastic job staying true to the budget, being thoughtful of the schedule, and really capturing the program for what this needs to be in the future. So any questions on pros and cons or what that process looked like?
No, appreciate the breakdown. We just wanted to dive a little bit deeper before we affirmed option 2 versus picking option. We wanted to make sure we weren't losing something or creating a problem by doing the value engineered option. So I think this answers all the questions that at least I have, and I think others not in their head. Councilor Groner has a question.
Yes. In terms of covered square footage, what is the difference between option 1 and option 2?
Oh, gosh, I do not, to be honest, I do not have that number off the top of my head, but if I remember correctly, and we can follow up confirming this, but we pulled 2 bays out of building A, which those bays are about 2,500-ish square feet apiece, about 5,000 out of that building. And then we pulled about 10 feet by 80, so about 800 to 1,000 square feet out of the office building. We really didn't have to take space out of the fleet maintenance and streets building. We just had to reconfigure the space. So not a huge significant loss in built area.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You can continue on to the finances if you're ready.
I think that's a great idea. Next slide is Q&A. So we've moved beyond that. So we'll hand it back over to staff.
This is the most important part of the conversation. How are we going to pay for this thing? And we've got a good plan and continued conversation. Everybody's important, but this is like the big, let me put it this way. It's the biggest expenditure that us as a city council has ever approved. And so we want to make sure we're getting the finances right. And I think it's going to be a continued conversation. I think we're going to authorize tonight and then have some further conversation in December about the rates and situation on the general fund.
Yes, that is correct. And we do have a brief presentation ready for you tonight. It's going to briefly see if my clicker works. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we're going to do a review quickly of the funding scenarios for option 2, which we did discuss at the last meeting. So we talked about this last time, $45 million budget. Annual debt service combined for all applicable funds would be approximately $3.2 million per year. We're talking about a funding scenario of a 30% cost share to streets, which is an equitable distribution, as streets will have a higher percentage of construction or streets-related construction on the project site. So that is what that looks like. We're looking at approximately $962,000 annual debt service for the streets fund and $561K per fund for the existing utility funds and parks. That's an increase about $21,000 per fund that is in the original adopted budget as is. There's also a 35% cost share scenario that we discussed last time. That is not staff's recommendation. It could be justified with streets, but it is a stretch, and the burden to the streets fund is a little bit excessive in this scenario. So review, council had some questions about trade-offs with this budget. We had talked a little bit about maybe some CIP projects that would be delayed or postponed in order to accommodate debt service. There is slight changes that weren't captured in our first presentation. The big one is that the sale of the Skyline property was not calculated in the forecast. That has been added into the revenue of the water fund now. And we have also added a projection of the sale of the operations building on Norfolk and assuming a distribution. That has not been determined where that will go. This just assumes equal distribution for all funds. But if you add that money back in, we can now reserve the $1.5 million water line, which was previously recommended to be removed. So that is a win. Again, besides adding back the water line in project year fiscal 30, the changes or the reductions in capital spending remains unchanged from the original. One thing we wanted to note, though, is we had talked about reduction in stormwater spending in fiscal year 27 of $500,000. That does leave $800,000 in the stormwater budget. Traditionally, we've invested heavily in capital projects and new infrastructure, which is very expensive. We're proposing to move that $800,000 into maintenance. That will allow city crews to work and do preventative maintenance on our existing infrastructure. It'll allow them to do more with less. We've deferred a lot of preventative in-house maintenance for larger capital spending. And this will just be an opportunity to do a little bit more with a little less, but making sure that stormwater infrastructure continues to get maintained. So updated funding scenario for option one. Again, option one would be a debt service. This would be the more expensive option, up to $55 million, which we hadn't really explored in the first presentation. So we ran some of those rough numbers. 30% cost to streets would be approximately 1.7 million per year. That's up from 962,000. So it's a pretty big debt service. And it would go from 561,000 per year for the other funds to approximately 683. This scenario would be difficult to achieve, honestly, without a significant other source of revenue. This is not the recommendation of staff, but this is the information. We want to be transparent about the options and the funding scenarios. We also had some questions about what if we did a small fee of some sort? What would that look like? These are very, very rough numbers. They do not calculate any annual increase to a fee. These are just flat $2. And I believe there's approximately 9,400 households with utility bills in West Linn. And we did a conservative estimate based on 9,000 households. So you can see these numbers based on a $2, $5, $7, or $10 fee. This is what they would produce annually, which ones would go to each fund. We assume if streets is paying 30%, they would maybe receive 30%. And you can see this. $7 would probably be the fee that would cover that gap in what is existing in the current budget versus the 45 or the 55 scenario. It would not cover streets, but it would help. It would help with streets and help cover that overage in all the other utility funds. So this is just some rough numbers to have an idea of what that would look like. Staff doesn't have a strong recommendation on fees, but I do know that, council will be discussing all options at future meetings, but this is just some general information for you. And that is it. We are just grateful for the opportunity. Again, we recognize there are some short-term trade-offs with capital spending for our infrastructure in order to achieve this goal. However, we strongly believe that the trade-off is worth it. These crews in this facility maintains our streets, our safe drinking water, our sewer systems, our parks, which are a huge amenity of this community. And without being able to maintain those parks properly, without being able to maintain our utilities properly, it does not set up the city for future success. And as you all know, those are the people who are out 24 hours a day during snowstorms or any other kind of inclement weather or utility emergency. And it's important for them to have a safe, functioning, efficient facility to work out of. Any questions, comments?
Any questions or comments? Councilor Bragg.
I do have to say I love option one, but option two gets us so close to that at a more doable price. So.
Any questions on the right side of the table here? Councilor Groner, Councilor Bonington, and Councilor Baumgartner? Okay. Well, I think the question before us is on option two. And of course, we've had several meetings about city's finances, including Monday, and kind of dove into the operations center financing yesterday as well. And we're going to continue to have meetings about the funding scenarios in December. So the decision tonight is just the request to move forward. And we've got funds budgeted to move forward at the $45 million option, correct?
Yes, that is the scenario that we can achieve status quo. So we are just looking for affirmation and the blessing to pursue option two so we can move full steam ahead, keep with our schedule, submit for land use, and capture that dry weather start.
Thank you. Well, I would entertain a motion, and there could be discussion if anybody has any final comments.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the recommended design recommendation referred to as option 2 and authorize the city's finance director to secure full faith and credit obligation funding in the amount of $45 million to be paid through long-term debt service of the applicable operation funds, streets, storm, sewer, water, and parks, general fund.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve recommended design option 2 and authorize the city's finance director to secure full faith and credit obligation funding in the amount of $45 million to be paid through long-term debt service of the applicable operation funds, streets, storm, sewer, water, and parks general fund. Any discussion? I feel like this is also a monumental moment where we're going to vote on approving this, and I'm excited about the building and all that it's going to bring to the city.
Mayor?
Yes.
Can I just clarify? It sounds like you're authorizing the full faith and credit. We are going to come back in 1 month on December 8th with that resolution. So it'll be formalized then, but I just wanted to make sure we're clear on that we will come forth with the resolution in about a month.
So this is like authorizing the resolution to come forward then, basically.
Authorizing the budget.
That's exactly what
and
it
the
is.
design.
It's the milestone moving forward. We'll be bringing back the formal adoption, so.
And authorizing all these wonderful people to continue their work. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. So, well, I said it earlier, but this is a very important project for the city. It's essential. There's no option not to have a functional operations center, and the current one is not functional. So I think it is, and it's outdated, bought and built in the 50s, I believe. So it's time, and it'll move it out of the neighborhood, and I think it'll be great for the city, and especially during those winter weather events, and just to have maintenance capabilities beyond what we have right now. So I just hope that the public and others can be brought along in the process as they have been for this, because it is an expensive project, but it's important. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Council President Baumgartner?
Yes.
Councilor Groner?
Yes.
Councilor Bonington?
Yes.
Councilor Bright?
Yes.
Mayor Venustowski?
Yes. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the wonderful work on the design and costing and operations and everything, and all the value engineering as well, saving the city $10 million by finding a better solution. We really appreciate that. And thanks for staying late also to into the evening.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Look forward to next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go to the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. What a night. Amazing. And all before 8 o'clock until you turned it over to me. So it's very, very impressive, and I appreciate your work. I think certainly I will thank you for your earlier decision and your earlier confidence in my work, and just my appreciation for our partnership. Kaylee probably has the exact same sentiment, would be my guess. We enjoy being a team together, and we enjoy working with you and for you. So it really is a pleasure. And I just think about the thousands of hours of work by many, many people to get these projects to where they were this evening, and for your confidence in us to approve the work proposed, and the confidence in us to keep it moving forward. It's certainly is a pleasure. What a fun holiday treat for us all to have adoption of various things. We will come back December 2nd. We'll talk specifically about the financing options. We'll keep the discussion coming from the work session you had yesterday, specifically to the operations center. And your business meeting in December is December 9th, and there's potentially some CAG appointments, a couple of consent items. Darren will be back. His work is not done. We'll be adopting the town center boundaries that you previously reviewed, and there's a couple of other planning items. Right now, we have the December 16th work session clear. Love to keep it clear to give you an extra holiday break, but if things come up, or if there's topics that you wish to have added, we can certainly work on that. But right now, that work session is clear. I do want to just provide a little more information on the thinking of the budget needs discussion. So yesterday, only yesterday, it seems like a week ago almost for me, you spent 3 hours thinking about a financial strategic plan, as I've been calling it. How are we going to address the city's key priorities? Unfortunately, Council President Baumgartner not able to be there, but we will catch you up on that. The consultant is going to be in touch with you about having a little mini exercise and being able to blend that into the council's work for the future. Obviously, there'll be a lot more conversations forthcoming on this. As I was mostly focusing on the presentation that Darren was providing, but partly thinking about what we're doing next on the Operations Center. I wrote down a few key thoughts about the guiding principles that I heard from you on this financial strategic plan. And just about 6 things. A focus on maintaining our critical infrastructure and our facilities, that huge investment that we have in our hard infrastructure in this community, both buildings, lines, streets, items and parks. You spend a lot of time thinking about how do we make sure that we're maintaining our investment in those things. You want to also maintain existing service levels. The services that we provide now ranked high, and stabilizing our city's ability to provide those existing services was a key thing. But also an interest in finding ways to add a few services or increase service levels that the community has been asking for. Traffic safety officers being an example of that kind of thing. Open space, facilities management, parks project management being examples of those. So that scored highly. And then in the amenities category, you talked a fair amount about providing a little bit of resource to be able to be opportunistic when opportunities arise. Examples, parkland that becomes available, that's only available once and could go away if the city doesn't have the ability to preserve it for the community, or opportunities in the Willamette Falls area or the wetlands area down by the Willamette River. So not necessarily being aggressive in adding lands and or building new facilities where we don't have them, but being opportunistic in those areas and being able to come to the table as a partner is a theme that I heard. Certainly an interest in implementing the vision plans, one of which you just adopted tonight, and that falls in that opportunistic category for me. What can we do to be present at those tables and help the future become a reality? I think certainly recognition of the rising costs that many households in this community are facing across the board, much having to do with economic conditions outside of our control. So being aware that folks are limited, and many folks are limited in their resources, and thinking about how if there are added costs that must need to be paid, how do we phase those in? How do we communicate them? How do we prepare for it? And I think what's really incumbent on us is to be transparent and to be future looking so that people have a picture of where we're headed, where you're headed, and what that might look like over time so folks can prepare. And also so that folks can comment. I think putting a whole package together, which may include, this is the first thing, this is the second thing, this is the third thing, this is our general timeline. This is why we think all these things are necessary. So both the predictability of it and the communication about it. Those are some of the key themes that I heard yesterday, and that would form the basis of the document that you asked us to put together in response to your prioritization. So that's kind of where I'm headed with this. I think we do the Operations Center in December, figure that part out, which is a manageable piece, and then get back to work in January and really hit the calendar running then to develop a plan that makes sense and a communications plan that makes sense. So that's sort of how I see this working. Does that sound like what you think you told me yesterday? Or told each other?
Mary? No, I'm just kidding. No, I think so. No, that you captured it well, I think. And one thing that came to my mind is communicating about this, the things that we're doing. And for example, Operations Center, it'd be great next month as we start talking about the financing of that, really continue talking about, like, maybe we can have a part of the Your Westland website that we can point people to kind of in a social media communication, others just say, here's why we're doing this project, here's why it's important, here's the current site. Some have mentioned a video as well, but the kind of being able to communicate about these things is important, and getting out in front of potential narratives about what the city council is doing. We haven't made any decisions yet on any of the matters we're talking about. It's really an ongoing conversation on finances. So anyway, that's the one thought that I had on communications, which I'm sure we're already working on. Any other thoughts for the good of the order on, do you have a little bit more to report on the
One more
events?
thing, I have not mentioned our artist, Haley Footer. I love this art in this room. It really brightens it up. It's the perfect thing for the rainy season. I love it. Haley is a local resident, an artist, obviously, who also works with students in our schools and in other schools around the region, conducts workshops, teaches art, and I think this is really cool. All the work is for sale. And it's just a nice way to finish off our art program for the year. Finally, next week is Thanksgiving. We are already here. And I want to remind you that because of the holiday and the Friday closure falling on the same week, the many city offices will be closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. The library is open till 4 on Wednesday and then closed Thursday, Friday. And so I want to just wish you all a lovely, happy Thanksgiving weekend and week. And we will see you in December.
Happy early Thanksgiving.
And I don't know.
We recognized a lot of staff for staying late, and I want to recognize Kristen James. Thank you for staying late as well back there, working hard on the city's legal matters. Anyway, with that, we'll be adjourned until December. Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to the community.